Imagine trying to plant a seed while everyone around you is rushing around, building skyscrapers and shouting slogans. You'd be the only one there with your hands in the dirt. They'd feel slow, out of step, but you know that one day that seed will grow into an oak tree. We live in an age that constantly pushes us toward the surface. Everything must be quick, immediate, digestible in a few seconds. It's a deafening melody that accompanies us from morning to night. A tweet, a story, a quick reaction. We're immersed in a constant stream of information, prepackaged opinions, and images rushing by. We're asked to be ready to respond, to comment, to form an opinion, even before we've fully understood. But what happens when, amidst this din, we try to pause, to dig deeper? What does it mean to be profound when the world around us rewards lightness and fleetingness? This isn't just a video. It's an invitation to slow down, to reflect on a topic that concerns us all and how we choose to live in this incredible and at times overwhelming reality. Think about it. Every day we're bombarded by an avalanche of content. News that lasts the time of a scroll, opinions expressed in 100 characters, images that are worth 1,000 words, but which often hide a deafening emptiness beneath their glossy perfection. It's an era that rewards immediate response, quick opinions, image over substance. This is no coincidence. Superficiality is no longer just an individual flaw, a lifestyle choice for some. It has become a true social dynamic, an operating system that governs our interactions and our expectations. We've been told, almost whispered in our ears, that everything should be short. Short to capture attention, short to be understood in a few seconds, short to be shareable, and above all, short to be consumed. It's as if society has developed a sort of allergy to too much. Too many words, too many thoughts, too much time dedicated to a single thing. We want everything now, packaged and ready to use. The result? A world that slips away quickly, where every experience risks becoming mere content, another box to tick on the endless list of our daily lives. And in this context, depth, with its demand for time, patience, and attention, appears almost like a foreign body, a jarring rhythm in a deafening symphony. Here's the rub. If you try to swim against the current, to resist the temptation to float on the surface, you'll be met with a puzzled look. Those who think before speaking, those who take the time to ponder every word, every nuance, often appear slow. In a world that rewards reactivity and quick responses, the thinker, the meditator, the contemplative, risks being labeled as indecisive, awkward, even shy, or worse, bore. Those who observe for a long time, those who aren't satisfied with the first glance, but try to grasp the details, the cracks, the hidden stories, seem uncertain. That hesitation, that moment of pause before acting or judging, is often mistaken for weakness or a lack of clarity. It's as if the simple act of not jumping to immediate conclusions were a sign of some flaw, rather than a virtue. And anyone who seeks meaning, who isn't satisfied with easy answers, who digs to find the deeper reason behind things, risks appearing like a complicator. Why complicate what could remain simple, right? Why add layers of reflection when a clear statement, a striking title, would be much more resonant? The illusory clarity of the surface is preferred to the richness of depth, which is sometimes uncomfortable. Complicating is thought to be an intellectual game for its own sake, rather than a genuine desire to understand the world in all its wonderful and often chaotic reality. But let's be clear, depth is not complication. It's not a labyrinth of tortuous thoughts or an intellectual whim for a select few. Depth is, first and foremost, attention. It's the conscious choice not to stop at first impressions, not to settle for what appears obvious. It's an act of humility, the recognition that reality is almost always more complex than it seems at first glance. Being profound means making an effort to see beyond the veil. It means not reducing people to easy-to-apply labels: introvert, extrovert, winner, loser. It means recognizing that each individual is a universe of experiences, contradictions, hopes, and fears. A label is a wall. Depth is a bridge. And it's not just about people. Depth asks us not to transform every experience into content to be published, or a story to be told to get a like. How many times have we found ourselves experiencing a beautiful moment, a breathtaking sunset, or a stimulating conversation, and the first thing we thought was, I have to photograph and record this for Instagram? Depth invites us to live that moment for the pure joy of experiencing it, to feel it, to let it settle within us, without the urge to make it shareable. It asks us to savor, not just consume. It is the ability to look at a situation from multiple angles, to consider nuances, to accept that not everything is black or white, right or wrong, but that there is a vast array of grays in between. Depth is the ability to ask uncomfortable questions, to investigate causes and not just effects, to question the why as well as the what. And this is what makes it so precious and so elusive in our hyper-connected world, yet often disconnected from the true roots of things. Being profound in a superficial world is no walk in the park. It often means accepting a certain solitude, not physical solitude, but that feeling that comes over you when you sense your internal rhythm not aligning with the external one. It's the loneliness of knowing that not everything can be explained quickly, because some truths, some emotions, some insights take time to articulate, to be felt, to be understood. It's the awareness that not everything can be translated into a catchy slogan, a viral post, or a 3-point summary. Contemporary society tends to measure value in terms of visibility and speed. The faster you produce, the more visible you are, the more successful you are. But what is essential, like the roots of a tree, grows slowly. Authentic relationships, those that nourish the soul and endure over time, aren't born from an instant match or a quick interaction. They require years of care, attention, and presence. True understanding, the kind that gets to the heart of matters, doesn't come with a fleeting glance or a quick read. It requires listening, empathy, and the willingness to put yourself in another's shoes. And maturity, true maturity, is not an age that is reached, but a continuous process of transitions, experiences, falls, and rebirths. Those who live deeply often perceive a distance. It's not a distance dictated by a sense of superiority or snobbery, but rather by this very different internal rhythm. It's like having a biological clock that ticks at a different frequency than the universal one. And the temptation to adapt, to simplify, to reduce oneself to be accepted, to avoid feeling weird or out of the loop is strong. But every time we give in to this temptation, every time we reduce our complexity to fit into a simpler and more acceptable model, we lose something precious, a part of ourselves, of our authenticity. We lose our uniqueness in the name of a standardization that does not nourish us. Depth, therefore, is not at all a luxury for the few, a whim that we can only afford if we have time or particular inclinations. No, depth is a form of respect. It is respect for the intrinsic complexity of reality, which does not deserve to be trivialized or reduced to a prepackaged formula. It is respect for human fragility, ours and that of others, recognizing that we are complex, vulnerable creatures, full of shadows and lights, and that every life deserves to be explored with delicacy and attention. And finally, it is respect for one's own conscience, for that inner voice that pushes us not to be satisfied, to seek the most authentic meaning of things, to nourish our spirit with what is true and lasting. Being profound today does not mean isolating yourself from the world, erecting walls, or taking refuge in an ivory tower. On the contrary, it means crossing this frenetic and sometimes superficial world, but doing so without letting oneself be flattened by its speed. It means maintaining your center of gravity, your roots, while everything around you seems to be slipping away. It's an act of active awareness, the choice to participate in life with our entire being, with our mind and our heart, without allowing haste to rob us of the richness that each experience can offer us. Perhaps it won't change the pace of society. Social media will continue to race, news will continue to whiz by, and opinions will continue to race. But it can and must change the way we choose to be within it. It can change the way we interact, how we listen, how we speak, how we think. And remaining profound, in a time that pushes us with all its might toward the surface, becomes a silent but powerful act of resistance. A resistance not made of slogans or noisy protests, but of presence, of listening, of reflection. A resistance that allows us to remain human, authentic, and true in a world that constantly demands that we be something else. It's a small, important daily gesture that can make a difference not only for ourselves, but also for those around us, inviting them, by example, to also seek their roots in a world in constant flux. If this video made you think, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future insights.